Chris, what is our fourth main topic today?
This comes from Omar. This is a sad day for me. I grew up on movies like Dumb and Dumber and Ace Ventura, and I have loved seeing Jim Carrey and Sonic and can't wait to see Sonic 2. But did you see that Carrey is retiring from acting? A whole new generation of people love him in Sonic, so why would he want to stop now? Thanks.
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And yeah, look, Jim Carrey, good Canadian kid. He is a great. He is one of the greats. He has given us some of the best, most fun, most funny movies, whether it's, I love The Mask. I'm a huge fan of The Mask. Ace Ventura, Dumb and Dumber. I don't care what anybody else says. I love Dumb and Dumber 2. I thought Dumb and Dumber 2 was great. I mean, not as good as the first one, clearly, but it got a lot of crap, and I thought it was hilarious. I love this guy, and then all of a sudden he comes out of nowhere, and he does Sonic. I thought, oh no, this is going to be embarrassing. He's going to be Robotnik. It's going to be so over the top and uncomfortable. It was great. I love seeing him in that. However, it sounds like he hasn't worked a lot lately, purely out of choice. I saw it like this one, I think it was a Jerry Seinfeld's getting coffee with comedians in cars, and Seinfeld goes to his house, and his house is just a big art studio now. He just likes painting. That's what Jim Carrey likes to do. He just likes to paint. And he's pretty happy with his life. And now apparently he's so happy with his life. He says, I think that's it. I think Sonic 2 might be the last thing I do. I think I'm retiring. This comes to us from the folks over at Variety who write the following. As Jim Carrey says, well, I'm retiring. Yeah, probably. I'm being fairly serious, Carrey said. It depends. If the Angels bring some sort of script that's written in gold ink that says to me that it's going to be really important for people to see, I might continue down the road. But I'm taking a break, Carrey added. I really like my quiet life, and I really like putting paint on canvas, and I really love my spiritual life. And I feel like, and this is something you might never hear another celebrity say for as long as time exists, I have enough. I've done enough. I am enough. I have enough. I've done enough, and I am enough. And that comes to us from Jim Carrey. All right. If he's being serious, and you know that whenever a celebrity, I don't care if it's a musician, a director, an actor, whatever, whenever they say, I'm retiring, I think, what was it, 4 films ago that Steven Soderbergh said he was retiring, that he wasn't going to do any more films? Anyway, Quentin Tarantino says the 10th is going to be his last. I don't believe that for a second. I think he believes it, but I don't believe it for a second. I take every actor, director, musician saying they're now retiring with a grain of salt if it's not connected to a health issue, like Bruce Willis the other day. But I believe Jim Carrey. And I believe it because he's not saying it coming off of some big flop of a movie that hurt his ego. He's not saying it after doing 12 movies a year. He's been slowing down a lot. And it really does sound like, yeah, listen, I've got all the money in the world. Not all the money in the world, but I got more than one person needs. I got plenty of money. My career and my legacy are already set. I'm not going to do anything that's going to top Dumb and Dumber anymore. So yeah, I think I'm done. And, he was also just recently pretty critical of the events that happened at the Oscars and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just thinking he's stepping back and looking, do I need to be a part of this anymore? I don't think I do. And so I'm going to say this. I believe him. I believe he's actually really serious about being done. And if he is, then I think I might eventually say top 5, but for now, I'll at least automatically say a top 10 greatest comedy movie performer ever. Like there's never been anyone like him. And that's good and maybe some ways bad, but nobody will ever be Jim Carrey. And the types of things he did and was able to do on screen, nobody can replicate. There will always only be one Jim Carrey. And whether it's, again, like The Mask, which I completely adore, Spotless Sunshine, or Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Truman Show. So even beyond comedy, he also showed he had some legitimate dramatic acting chops as well. What a career if it is. Again, he didn't say it was definitive, but he says, yeah, I'm fairly serious. I think I'm done. Anyway, Rob, you hear Jim Carrey saying, hey, I've got enough. I've done enough. I'm pretty happy with my life. I think I'm done. And he hasn't done a lot of stuff lately. Number one, do you believe him? And in general, what do you think Jim Carrey's legacy on the movie industry is right now as it is?
Well, I think I absolutely believe him. And if you look at his career as a young stand-up comic and going on to shows like In Living Color, where we all first saw him, you know, he was an amazing performer. The rubbery body that he did was something not a lot of us had seen in our lives. I mean, his impressions from everybody from William Shatner to take your pick. I mean, what a deft comedy performer on every level he was. And then when he did things like Ace Ventura, I mean, come on, you watch that performance and like, we'd never seen anything like that before. And then, like you pointed out, he did The Truman Show. He did The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is one of the great sci-fi movies, I think, of the modern age. And in a way, so is The Truman Show. And then he goes on, what was that thriller he did? Like, it was called Number 9?
The number 23?
The number 23. That's what, yeah, the number 23.
I try to forget that movie.
Right, but it was still interesting. Like, he did something that was offbeat. Now he does Robotnik. I mean, he's worked for decades now in comedy. And now I think he's afforded himself the opportunity where he doesn't have to work himself to the bone where he's too old to enjoy his life. He's got enough money. He can travel the world. He can paint. He can explore another facet of his existence. I mean, wouldn't that what we would all do if we had? The only reason you want to get rich is so you're unfettered from the constraints of having to work for enough money to pay for your life. And if you've got enough money and you're happy with the work you've done, and I can't imagine he's not happy with the work that he's done because he's entertained so many people now for what, the better part of 30, 40, 35 years, 40 years maybe. He's had a great life. And he can continue to go on. He can he has the luxury to reinvent himself. And to me, he's leading his best life. He's had tragedy in his life recently, and he lost somebody very dear to him. And I think, what a great way to live. You know, Cameron Diaz, we recently saw her retire. And, you know, if you feel that you've accomplished all you need to accomplish or all that you've wanted to accomplish in your career, why not go out on a high note? You know, Tarantino says that I look at all these directors that I revere and none of them went out with their best movie. Their power was diminished. The films they made later in their careers were never as good as what they were making at the height of their career. So I want to make 10 movies. I want to have them all be great. And I want to leave my career with this legacy that's intact. And I think more and more people are going to do that. More power to them.
Chris, you hear about what he's saying. And he's right. We may never hear a celebrity say this for the rest of eternity. I have enough. But, he says, I have enough. I've done enough. He seems pretty secure in his legacy. Of course, the one most important thing that we have not mentioned yet, good Canadian kid, Jim Carrey. Do you think he's serious about retiring? And if so, to you, what's Jim Carrey's legacy on this business, if that's what he's doing?
I do think he's serious. If you've watched him in recent red carpet events too, he just has this is all meaningless attitude of when certain things will get asked, or are these people icons? That was a big one. What makes an icon, Jim? And he's like, that's a ridiculous question. What are we even doing here? What are we talking about? We make movies. What? Why are you acting this way? So I really, really think he is going to live this simpler life. For me, there's so many things to think about. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is one of my favorite things. I love Liar Liar. Earth Girls are
I'm so
easy.
glad I forgot Liar Liar.
That one. Earth Girls are easy. The Truman Show. I think I've mentioned it on the show before. My parents used to live near that town, Seaside, Florida, and it was just always so uncanny and cool to be there and be like, oh, this is the lighthouse and this is all the town stuff. I'm such a huge fan. I'm sad to see what this means for Sonic 3. But I am very excited for him to live the life that he wants to live. And shouldn't we all embrace more of this too?
Yeah.
Like the last few years, we've talked about self-care so much on social media and on news shows and everything. And what true self-care is knowing that you're enough and you don't need stuff to fulfill you.
When you've got tons of stuff already.
Yeah, that's very true.
You've got all the stuff you need.
But I think everyone should put a little sticky note on their mirror that says, hey, I'm enough. Go into the world with some Jim Carrey attitude. Oh my gosh, and thank you, chat. The Grinch. His Grinch is iconic.
I don't care what anybody says. His Grinch is awesome.
It's the best one.
I love his Grinch.
It is the best. Oh,
Other people mentioned
Max.
Cable Guy. Cable Guy's another one.
Incredible. His show Kidding. Like, he's done so much good stuff.
I mean, you have to ask yourself, what more from a movie star perspective, what more can he do? Mm-hmm. He can just repeat himself or do other variations on a theme. If he really feels that he's come to the end of that particular road, how great is it that he can choose whatever road that he wants to go on, whether it's to be a painter, whether it's to maybe write a book. Maybe he wants to teach the younger generation. But the fact is, there's nothing more he's going to do unless God himself comes down and says, I've written a script, Jim. It's for you.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing more he could do that would make his legacy better than it is.
Oh my gosh.
I got to mention this one too. It's not a beloved movie. It is not a beloved movie, but there was something about him in it that I loved. He did a movie a couple of years ago with Steve Carell called The Incredible Burt Wonderstone,
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
where Steve Carell plays a Las Vegas magician. So they actually flew us out to Vegas to go do the press junket there, and Carrey's there. Not the best movie in the world. I thought it had some really good laughs. I love Jim Carrey in that. He played what's that?
He's like a Chris Angel.
Chris
type.
Angel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he played like a Chris Angel character. Every moment Jim Carrey is on screen in that movie, I was laughing hysterically.
He's brilliant in that.
I love him in that. I thought that was so good.
Sorry.
I was just going to ask Ray, because Ray, like when you think of Jim Carrey, do you have a favorite Jim Carrey movie that you like?
It has to be that one. The one you just mentioned.
Incredible Burt Wonderstone?
Yeah, because I remember watching it and I was like, I just thought it was hilarious. But out of like everyone I know Anne is the biggest Jim Carrey fan.
Oh, she's a Dumb and Dumber guy. She's a huge Dumb and Dumber
She
fan.
watched Cable Guy like every day. Like in elementary school, like I would come home and then it would be Cable Guy. She's the big Jim Carrey fan, but there's going to be nobody that can replicate what he does. I mean, even if it's just him being him, there's nobody that can get that enthusiasm like Jim Carrey does when he has a role. Like he could go over the top, and it's just funny to me every time he does it. I never get tired of it.
And we also forgot Bruce Almighty.
Bruce Almighty's a great one.
Bruce
oh no,
Almighty's
my
good. Oh,
camera
no, your thing
overheated
went out.
again.
We'll
I got
get
too
the-
spicy about Morbius.
We'll get that fixed up here in a second.
Did you guys ever watch 30 Rock? Were you 30 Rock fans?
I didn't watch a lot of it. I wish I did.
There's a ridiculous episode about Leap Day Williams, who is the hero of Leap Day, who emerges from the Mariana Trench and gives candy to the good children traded for their tears. And there's a movie in the show that Jim Carrey plays Leap Day Williams, and it's the funniest stuff I have ever seen. It's so good.
But here's a question. What happens with Sonic 3? A lot of people in the chat were asking, since if this is his retirement, is there something to say about Sonic 3? Maybe his character doesn't go on after Sonic 2? I don't know. It's all...
I mean, he might be contractually obligated to come back, and he just didn't mention that.
I can't imagine that he would have signed a 3-picture deal, though. I don't know if he would have signed a 3-picture deal to get him back for that, but I don't know. We'll have to say. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Jim Carrey is saying he's pretty serious about retirement. He wasn't 100% definitive, but I actually believe him. Do you guys believe him? Do you think this is it? We're going to see him in Sonic 2 and that's it? And if so, what kind of legacy do you think he leaves behind? What is his overall legacy in this business as you look back on it? And what's your favorite Jim Carrey movie? Whatever your guys' thoughts are, jump down to the comments below and leave those thoughts there.